In this vast, untamed world, there are two things that a young Tenonto must become. She must be both fearless and unrelenting. She doesn't yet know it, but her future holds many challenges. But like a butterfly still trapped in her cocoon, she must first grow in order to reach her full potential. Herd animals need a herd, of course. During my search, I made a quick stop to take my rage out on this fawn. And maybe that's where my bloodlust began. At last, the elusive Tenno responded to my calls. However, upon approaching him, I realized he wasn't doing so hot. I suppose that's what climbing down a cliff will do to you. It wasn't long before my sighs began to agitate the bees in the sanctuary. It was concrete munching time. At least, that's what I was thinking until I stumbled upon one of the river's most notorious inhabitants. We gave each other a brief sniff, and I like to think that I scared him off. I was searching for a good drinking spot when I stumbled upon this large boulder sticking out of the river. I thought maybe I could wedge myself up against it, but I didn't expect it to work as well as it did. I made this little map for anyone who wants it. And of course, I had to show off my new drinking spot.
Because I was like, well, there's no point going to 83 because you build something.
Oh, move!
Damn.
Keep moving, he's following you. He's chasing you. Yeah. He's chasing you through the land. Oh my god! Holy shit. I bet he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that for a drinking spot. I saw him earlier, just sitting on the bank, like way further down. I didn't think he came up here. Oh, that's crazy. That was horrifying. That's such a cheesy spot to drink. That actually should be illegal.
Yeah, it should.
There was someone else that we had to meet up with.
Oh, right next to you.
Oh, shit, hi.
Oh, nice skin.
Thanks. Let me invite you.
Oh, Cliff.
Although we were growing big enough to begin to defend ourselves, having an adult companion would greatly increase our odds of survival. And of course, every young herbivore needs someone to show them the ropes. Chasing a frog?
Yeah, can't kill it.
Oh, don't slap me.
No, I'm just biting.
Yeah. Look at that poor little frog. Frog hunting is obviously a very important Tenno skill, just like scaring off dinos. On this day, I wasn't as eager to get drowned. I settled for a light cement snack. Unfortunately, concrete chewing was growing old, and we decided to move north in search of new lands. But of course, we had to take a quick frog-killing detour.
Slam it.
Oh, he went. No, down. Oh, there's going to be a clock in the outside.
Busy chasing frog.
Oh.
Your turn.
Yep. I'll get kicks and shit out of you.
That is so funny. We made it in one piece to northern jungle. As dusk approached, we rested and recharged by the pond. But the peace wouldn't last long. With juvenile cerrados roaming near sanctuary, we couldn't help but chase them around. The lighter-colored cerrado decided to make itself my target. I gave him a good kick in the guts, and then proceeded to chase him relentlessly. Although I was large and clumsy, I wasn't about to let him escape without his tail chewed.
I'm just gonna keep
Got it.
chasing this one.
Are you on
He's
one
trying
though?
to run it.
Yeah, I'm on one. I'm biting him in the butt.
Yeah.
It turns out, though, this young Serato wasn't running aimlessly. We all quickly switched targets, which gave the younger one a chance to get some revenge bites. This is the moment when I thought perhaps we might be in trouble. I want you to pretend for a moment that that was a dream. That never happened. It's all in your head. As you can see, I'm perfectly healthy and alive. I want you to forget any of that ever happened, okay? I noticed these raptors quite peacefully sitting on a rock. Not on my watch. I climbed up the rock confidently, as far as I could reach. And then I cautiously shimmied so that I could give them a piece of my mind. It didn't really get me the fight that I was looking for, but at least I disturbed them enough to make them get up. I left the boring raptors alone, which is when I heard footsteps approaching. With all the confidence in the world, he ran straight into my tail. I kindly thanked him with 3 kicks to the face. I'm sure he learned his lesson and would just run away, right? I'm sure these 2 raptors enjoyed their dinner and a show. After all, it was on the house. Next on the agenda was a drink, but unfortunately, instead of being grateful for the meal and leaving me alone, the raptors hoped that they could easily finish me off. But I was determined to prove them wrong. At first, I naively thought that maybe they just wanted a drink. As a power move, I blocked the passage, but eventually I got bored. So I applied some pressure. There wasn't any way a big sturdy creature like me was about to catch up with a raptor. But hey, couldn't hurt to try. But yet again, I got bored. So I strutted off. Not that I was hungry or had anywhere to be, but I go where I like. Which is when I spotted another raptor making its way up the hill. It sounded like there might have been a few around, but I wasn't too worried yet. But as I approached Raptor Rock, the noises made me decide to turn back. I know that the rock can't knock raptors off, and with the sound of danger closing in, I would have to use every part of the terrain to my advantage. I believe the stego came to defend me, but with mixed packers and my not-so-distant past, I decided to keep my distance. Like I said, keeping my distance. As I strolled on past the rock, this raptor decided he wanted to dance. My stam remained high, so I was content to duel with him for a moment. But I didn't want to catch a bleed with other raptors hanging around. So for now I kept my face towards him so I could catch him in a stun if he jumped towards me. Since biting is quicker, it's a more efficient strategy against a solo raptor. But the longer he aimlessly sprinted around, the more I let go of those worries. That was until the second raptor got to his feet. Just 2 is still manageable, but knowing there were more around and the rock couldn't knock them off me, I would have to find a more defensible position, and quickly. That little fruit tree would have actually worked fine, but I didn't need my vision to be obscured by leaves, so the plan was to get to this lonely tree. And just like that, it was on. Usually it's important to preserve every scrap of stamina, but my second mutation was tactile endurance, so I could afford to push back. Four raptors are very manageable, however, I could hear them calling for more. Before I knew it, this place would be overrun. That little camera shake was a bit of my panic seeping through. I don't have enough eyes to watch them all. They backed off for a moment, probably to regain stamina as well as greet the newcomers, but my moment of peace would be brief. Somehow my direct body bite didn't hit him, so he was able to latch on. And if I wasn't careful, my stress was gonna cost me this fight. Maybe I could have run away, but anywhere I ran, they could chase, and anywhere I hid, they could track. There were raptors everywhere, and my body began to show signs of wear and tear. Even if I hurt some of them, I wouldn't be able to leave my tree to pursue them. New raptors were going to take their place and hold me here. But I was willing to fight till the end. I had also recently changed my keybinds, so not to make excuses, but I was feeling rather rusty. As I feared, my pursuit left me wide open. I'd have to get this raptor off quick. For the moment, it felt like things were slowing down. Their low stamina was going to buy me a moment to try and heal my bleed, but one stayed back to watch me, and unfortunately he kept me on my toes until his friends could return. Things were getting desperate, and I was going to have to time my hits better if I wanted a chance to survive. I had bought myself another moment to breathe. The raptors sniffed the air to be sure I was still bleeding, and I stood still to preserve myself. I was still in orange, so I still wasn't giving up. I would have to rely on my ears and listen for footsteps. Many of the other raptors had taken a moment to regain their stamina or to heal, but at this point most of the work had already been done. My cuts were wide open, and all they had to do was keep the pressure on. My slam alt-bite combo sent one of them fleeing. I had successfully pressed them back again. I was going to have to use every moment I could to try and heal my bleed. The raptors weren't going to let that happen. He was remaining out of reach of my kicks, but I was missing my tail slams. Maybe this is how things were going to end for me. But in this game, the tables can turn at any time, and maybe this time, they would turn in my favor. In my final moments, I was saved. I hadn't killed any of them. Every pursuit of a sun was leaving me open. I was forced to stay defensive, but they were hurt, and the brave arrival of the Paki was enough to drive them back, this time for good. And it wasn't just him. The herbivores had taken back North Lake. Safe at last, I could rest and heal. For the moment, I was feeling at ease. But it was a short moment. To my disgust, a full-grown Carno crested the hill with the Stegosaurus. I could do nothing. He wasn't attacking me after all. But I just couldn't stand for it. The whole situation gave me the heebie-jeebies. I forecalled to announce my unease. The plan was to heal until the right moment struck, and all the while I kept a watchful eye. Sure, I wanted the raptors to be beat up, but not like this. I was healing up well, and soon the moment I was waiting for would arrive. I would catch him while he ate, but the Stego's approach made me quickly turn back. The Carno eyed me with suspicion. It was going to have to be now or never. I started off with a stun, but only one of my 2 kicks landed. At this point, I thought I had started a war and was fully sprinting away from everyone. Once again, those glorious packies had my back. But now, in full paranoia mode, I was convinced everything was out to get me, so I was hesitant to join back in the fight, not wanting to get caught in an ambush. But the murder of that innocent galley had me racing back into the fray. Now, fully convinced that the packies were on my side, and knowing I could outrun the stegos, I had a bit of confidence back. I didn't like how many hits the packies were taking, but at the same time, I just couldn't keep up. I found out later that this Carno was actually Ooga Booga, my Tenno friend from before, and he let me know that all that running had done a number on him, because Tenno bleed is actually surprisingly deadly, but full sprinting in the opposite direction wasn't going to stop his bleed. I didn't know this at the time, but his retreat was cause for celebration nonetheless. We celebrated, and the Maya clearly approved. It turns out, in the end, Ooga Booga didn't even know any of the other creatures here. So the stego and many of the other herbivores had probably not noticed how the fight began, and had simply come to save me. I healed for a while, but footsteps soon distracted me. Unfortunately, I didn't seem to have learnt very much from my last Sarah encounter, so I pursued this guy, despite his friendly calls. But I wanted him to fight me, and he kept running away. So I had the idea to start chasing his baby. I wasn't gonna kill it, just nibble it a bit, and hopefully cause him to run to its defense, and take me on. My mad pursuit of any Sarah I could find finally caught his attention. That poor guy must have been low health, which explains why his friend was so eager to protect him. In the end, they kept fleeing, so I went to get a drink, and this Maya watched over me. Plus, I still needed to heal, so I sat upon this rock till nightfall. Then I returned to my hunt. But again, he didn't really want to fight me, so I returned to my trusty tactic of chasing small children. And that seemed to do the trick. But this Sarah wasn't as clueless as some of the others, and my already empty stomach was a bit of an oversight. Yeah, no, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should just leave. But rightfully, he gave me the same mercy that I gave him, which was none. I'll just let this whole fumble speak for itself.
Well, if you liked the video, then like the video, because this took way longer than you think to make. And maybe next time I visit the Tenno, I won't be so rusty.